Take no less than 100% responsibility for your life. You know, one of the greatest myths that's pervasive in our culture today is that you're entitled to a great life and that somehow, somewhere, someone is responsible for filling our lives with continual happiness and exciting career options, a nurturing family, and blissful personal relationships simply because we exist. But the real truth is that there's only one person responsible for the quality of your life, and that person is you. You see, everything about you is a result of your doing or not doing. Your income, your debt, your relationships, your health, your fitness level, your attitudes and behaviors, everything. That person you see when you look in the mirror is the chief architect in your life. You know, I think everybody knows this in their heart of hearts, but the mind can play games, tricking us into thinking that there are external factors that are the source of our failures, our disappointments, and our unhappiness. But the truth of the matter is that external factors don't determine how you live. You, and only you, are in complete control of the quality of your life experience. Successful people take full responsibility for the thoughts they think, the images they visualize, and the actions they take. They don't waste their time and energy on blaming and complaining. They evaluate their experiences and decide if they need to change them or not. They face the uncomfortable and they take risks in order to create the life that they want to live.
Everyone's going to hit adversity.
Yep.
Okay? Everyone's going to hit adversity. It's how you deal with that adversity. And the key word is you, not letting somebody else deal with that adversity. You have to deal with that adversity. And how you deal with it. Are you going to fight through it, or are you going to curl up and just roll over into the corner? Is going to pretty much determine how the rest of your development from a mental standpoint is going to carry you. You know, people talk about this. People talk about this all the time. You know, losing builds character. Okay, well, how much character do you need? Seriously, all right. You know, you want to keep losing. Hey, listen, I'd rather have a person win who has a little bit of character.
Yeah.
Okay, who's a little nuts, and a person that loses all the time and has got great character. At some point, you got to start winning. You can't always look for other people to help you. Other people got their own problems. They got their own shit they got to deal with. They're trying to achieve their own goals. They are willing to assist, but after a while, okay, if you constantly looking for assistance, constantly looking for help, it's on you. Your failure and your success is on you.
One of the things that's really interesting about the Old Testament is that, and the Jews in the Old Testament, is that they don't take the path of Cain. Every time they're walloped by God, which is like fairly frequently, they say, we must have done something wrong and we have to set ourselves right. And that's an unbelievably heroic attitude, because that's the alternative to cursing fate. It's like you take the responsibility for failure onto yourself. And you think, well, if I just had my act together a little bit more, if I took advantage of every opportunity that was put in front of me, if I wasn't resentful and bitter, then I could have done something that would have tilted the situation in a different direction. And like, that's almost inevitably true. Dostoevsky, I think, said something like, every man is responsible for everything that happens to him and everything that happens to everyone else. And that's, you know, it's a crazy statement, right? It's a crazy statement. And he was a pretty extreme person in many, many ways. But there's a level at which that's metaphysically true, you know, because what happens is that it's failure to act often that's the most catastrophic. You know, I mean, it's to not do the right thing when the situation presents itself, and it's very specific. You know, you're constantly in situations where you could do the right thing if you were willing to take a risk that's actually of relatively moderate size, and you know that you could take the risk, and you know that you should take the risk, and you don't. And that happens to people all the time. And then what happens is the thing that they didn't oppose grows a little bit, and they shrink a little bit, and that starts a loop. Hey?
Something bad might happen to you in order to teach you a lesson to prepare you for something better later on. I know it's hard to think like that in the moment of the bad thing happening, but if you really think about it, all the negative things and the positive things that led you to where you are today got you to where you are today. And if not for those negative and positive things, you might not be here. You might not have the great job you just got, or the little girl sitting next to you. Anything. Like you can't live with any regrets. You know what I'm saying? Because it's all a learning process from the beginning to where you are now to where you will be. You're learning the whole way, and you're gonna drop some stuff. You're gonna fall on your face. You're gonna break some eggs, and that's just part of what it is to be alive.
Well, when you have a traumatic brain damage, you can see the scars on my head. At that moment, when it first happened, when I didn't see any hope, when I couldn't walk, before they taught me how to stand up and sit down again, you don't feel that way. But as the months and the months and the months went by, part of my therapy was seeing TV and seeing my friends and saying, hey, I'm coming back. One day, and my wife made sure that her and my therapist, I wanted to walk my wife. It was bigger than TV for me at that moment. I wanted to walk my wife down the aisle with no cane.
I wanted to ask you how proud you are of what you've been able to accomplish, because obviously it hasn't been easy. You've had to put a great deal of effort in there. And was there ever a time when you almost gave up, saying to yourself, maybe I can't do this?
Well, my wife wouldn't let me do that. My son wouldn't let me do that, and I looked at my little daughter's face, they wouldn't let me do that. I just hope my tragedy and Jimmy's death isn't in vain. I just hope that the thing that happened to me can be prevented now from people just dying on the road. And so that's what I hope.
And do you feel you're the same person?
But I don't give up. My father was drafted into Vietnam at 17, and I never seen him give up. So I wanted to be like my father. Even when he had AIDS, he never gave up. So we don't do that as Morgans.